Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to take a minute to explain grades and what you should start seeing in Schoology and how that'll work. Um, I just noted on here for you, I've always sort of disliked grades because they make learning artificial sometimes, but I know they're important. And so I just wanted to be clear about how we're trying to do it. Remember, our goal is to become a stronger reader and a stronger writer, and our grades are hopefully going to reflect that. So I've set the categories up to be about reading and writing. You can see there's a feedback category and a grades category. So you should see things in each. The feedback just doesn't count toward your grades. Okay, so you might have a bunch of stuff in feedback and one grade. And that's the way it should look. The grade should ultimately reflect the feedback. So if all your feedback is you're amazing, the grade should be amazing. And if all the feedback is seems like you're having some trouble, the grade should probably reflect that. And so that's the way this is set up to work. Okay. It notes on here that when you submit tasks, I'm going to give you feedback using a scale, and we'll talk about that scale in a second. And I'll often give you some tips about how you could improve. Okay, but these are some important things to know. Your grade should be based on the evidence of your learning. So we're always collecting evidence. In the My Reading Doc, it's evidence of how you're reading. With your writing, it's evidence of you putting into practice the four goals that we've been working on. It notes here the feedback is not averaged to determine the grade, but again, the grade should reflect the feedback scores. So I'm not going to add up 86 and 74 and get a percentage. I'm going to look at the feedback category and see most of the work is of a certain type. Okay. If you have questions about that, I'm glad to answer. It says your grade should reflect your most current level of mastery or achievement. So if maybe you started with a poor score, but your more recent writing scores have been strong. Again, I'm not going to average those three. I'm going to look and notice this is where the person is now, and that's what should be reflected in your grade, ideally. In notes, you can always submit missing work, and sometimes that can help improve a grade. You can always revisit a task if you thought the grade was low or you're trying to improve it, but you have to let me know you're doing that because I'm not going back to look at old work. So if you go back and revise an essay, you need to come tell me, hey, I think this one's better now, and we can talk about it at that point. I'm glad if you want to do that, I'm glad to work with you on that. Okay. That's the ideal is that you're getting better at stuff. Those two grades will be equal, the reading and writing grades. They're just going to be kind of half and half from the reading and half from the writing. Okay. Then ultimately your transcript will have a letter grade, A, B. It won't have a percentage. That's just the way Mason does things. So our scale that I use in here is not a number scale. It's these descriptions on the left: sophisticated, solid, safe, inadequate, and incomplete. And they would correspond to A, B, C, D, and F. Okay? It's just that what we're trying to get to is a sophisticated reading of a particular piece or a sophisticated piece of writing. And this just gives you an idea of how you can go about doing that. Okay. Same for solid. Solid meaning it's good. Okay. It may not be as good as the sophisticated piece, but it's still good. Safe sometimes means I think that it does things accurately, but at the bare minimum, maybe. Okay. So this is what you should see in Schoology as you look at somebody's grades. Okay. So semester one, right now there's not much in the reading feedback. I've given your feedback directly in the My Reading Doc. At least I did once. Okay. To let you know if you're missing some stuff or if you're on the right track. But ultimately, you'll submit that doc, and that will be the first reading grade, quarter one. And we would do the same thing in quarter two. For writing, you've got more specific feedback on the writing challenges, they kind of piece by piece, because that makes more sense with writing. Okay, so you can see this person's first one was a solid, and the second one was sophisticated. Okay, so I've got some data points here. The third one will help me. If it's solid, then I would kind of know like 2 out of 3 pieces is solid. That's probably where they should be. If it's sophisticated, same thing, 2 out of 3. I'm easy to see that it's easy for me to see that they're doing what they should. We're gonna do one little thing called the Unit 1 writing reflections, and that'll be kind of a chance to look back at these 3 pieces and pull out your best evidence of each of the 4 goals, and that will become a writing grade for you. Okay, and then between the reading grade and the writing grade, that's where the points and the letters and stuff like that will come from. But eventually you would see these, I think of them as folders almost, or little portfolios populated with evidence of your learning and a criteria attached to it. Okay, this is where I'm seeing it. As always, if you've got any questions at all about grades, though, it never bothers me to talk about them very specifically yours or why something is the way it is or how it could be improved. That's what we're here to do. Okay. So good luck.